Hello and welcome along to Christchurch Xscape's first ever podcast. We're going to call it Locked In With. My name is Ash Gibson. In each of these episodes, I'll be chatting to someone we know, or maybe we don't necessarily know that well, to get some insight into their life, and particularly within the context of lockdown. You know, what they've been getting up to in lockdown, how they're coping with lockdown, and which we've all kind of come to love or hate over the last few months. And today, I'm locked in with Matthew Boyd, who, for those listening and may not know him, is one of our members at Christchurch Xscape. Hey up, Boydie.
Hello.
So this COVID thing, it's been a huge global big deal, but at the same time, it's been an individual thing. So we've all had our own stories, we've all had our own things to learn, our own experience of it, and I kind of thought it'd be really cool if we could share some of that stuff, even log it, so it's there for us to reflect on and think back on. So welcome, Boydie. Awesome. Thanks for doing the first one. It might be the last one.
I'm willing to be the guinea pig. I'm willing to try things out. I'm always game. So yeah.
So cool. Right, give me 5 words to describe you. I've wrote this question down and I thought of you, and I thought I'd be interested to know where this guy I've kind of known on and off most of my life goes with 5 words. So go.
Okay. Well, I've when he asked me this, I've done this from the perspective of now. So when you asked me this is how I was feeling at that moment in time. So I didn't think since I was born and all that. You know, this is just me, snapshot, Tuesday, done work, being at home all day, doing homeschooling. You know,
you're such an immediate guy. I love
so yeah. So the 5 words are confused.
You're right. That's your first word.
First word for me at the moment. This is where I'm at. Confused.
Right. Okay.
Bored.
Well,
in terms
people
of
have their hearts warmed and be inspired by this. You're confused, bored. All right. Okay,
bored. A bit just bored in terms of, you know, I like being around people. You know, I like seeing people. Like, you know, interaction, and it's been really limited recently. So at this moment in time, I just feel a bit like that. Yeah. At the moment, I'm binge watching. So I won't say binge watching, but we're into things.
Confused. Binged is the word. Confused.
Binge. Well, yeah, because you can say bingey, whatever you want to say with that. So watch stuff on Netflix, Amazon.
I'm a bit bingey. That's a good.
Yeah. Bingey.
That's a good COVID word. Bingey.
Bingey.
Okay?
Bingey.
Right,
yeah.
Yep.
A talker. So I do talk a lot when people, you know, I do tend to yabber, and sometimes I don't know when to be quiet. I don't like silence, so I tend to fill that silence with my voice, and sometimes my voice doesn't say much. as I'm doing now.
Do you talk the most in your house?
No.
Who's got the most words?
Jonah's definitely got the most words in our house. He loves to chat. He's very sociable, Jonah. So yeah. He definitely outtalks me. And
one more word.
Well, yeah, I was struggling to so it's out of shape, but it's not. How do I say out of shape? Unfit. Yeah, unfit. And I want to be getting into a diet. That's my aspiration to be disciplined in that role.
There you go.
So yeah, that's me. That a snapshot. So if you asked me this last week, it may have been something else. If you ask me this next week, it may be something else. But this is just how I'm feeling now. So
right now,
5 words to describe it.
Unfit, bingy. I think I hoped this podcast might create a bit of empathy, Boydie. I think you might create empathy there. I think
empathy
up and down the nation, there's lots of people thinking, I don't need to eat these roast peanuts. I don't need to. I
love roast peanuts.
For people on lockdown, the fridge is too close. It's just too close.
It's just. But the thing is, as well, with eating, it's a case of, you know, with lockdown, you're not seeing friends, you're not seeing family, you're not going out to meals. You say, well, the eating is one of the few things that are nice which you can control, and it's like, right, you know. So if I want to eat some honey roasted peanuts. That's what I'm going to have. So I find it hard. I really admire people who have stuck to it and done a diet. Really admire to do that, because I haven't. I'm trying, but
I think despite Joe Wicks's brave efforts, I think we're all a bit wobblier.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we'll, yeah. Anyway, those are the 5 words. That's brilliant. They're good answers. So the 2 more questions. You get 1 sentence. I don't know if that's going to be possible for you, buddy, but 1 sentence. In 1 sentence, how did you come to be where you are right now? As in here, married, in that house, with your feet on the ground, on that sofa. I think you're on a sofa now, something like that.
I'm on a sofa, yeah. So in 1 sentence, I think it's less than a sentence, if that's such a thing. It's just a few words. By the grace of God.
It's already. Oh wow.
By the grace of God, He's guided me. I look back on my life, I suppose, and I think I've got a lot to be thankful for. I've got lovely family, lovely wife, Amy, and children, and in a great church, got great friends. There's so many things that I am thankful for, and God has just lavished that upon me. So by His grace, I'm here. There's no other words for that. I think, I suppose we can all look back and think how God saved us and pulled us out of different situations, but that's me. I can't attribute that to anything else, if that makes sense.
Awesome. I was hoping that I'd steer this to deep, and you've jumped in deep with by the grace of God. Awesome. Yeah, and as I hear you pad it out, I think, yeah, that's true. That's true for you. It is by the grace of God. I think it's important that you stop and go and to say that sentence, if you really believe it, every now and again, and accredit it to Him rather than go, yeah, I'm awesome. I've worked hard. I must be fairly decent looking, hard-working fella to have achieved what I've achieved. I think it's good for us, good for our souls to go by the grace of God. All right, and 1 sentence, how did you come to be in Christchurch Xscape?
That's a hard question, because it's so long, but
well, give it, pull it down into one concise sentence, even like
train of thought.
Was there a moment where it all happened, or?
Well, yeah, it was God's guidance again. It was God leading us in that direction, I suppose, and God putting us in Xscape. It was something which looking back was inevitable for, it was in terms of the direction of how things were and what God has done in our lives, I suppose. Yeah, it's hard to think back. How did you actually get to the church that you're in now? Because I've been there right from the beginning, so it's difficult to really put that into words. Really, that's a tough one.
You definitely didn't get it in a sentence. Maybe.
No, that's not a sentence. So that's just me just rambling, because I haven't got a sentence for that. Really, it's just more of a. I would say that I'd use the same sentence as what I used for the other one. By the grace of God, He's guided us into this, into a church that we love the people dearly, and all this that's happened has made us want to see people even more, see our friends and family, and even more. So yeah.
Right. Let me put something to you. Imagine a world. This is hard to imagine. This is the premise, though. Imagine a world where a disease comes out of nowhere. Right. This is hard to imagine, and it's so contagious, and it spreads so quickly that everybody has got to stay at home for months.
I can't imagine that. It sounds like a nightmare.
It sounds like a nightmare. It doesn't happen. I really hope it doesn't happen. So this is the facade. This is the premise I want you to think about. Imagine you're locked in your home, as is the rest of the nation, and I have got 6 questions for you to think through to bring sanity and joy and laughter to people listening in. So first of all, who are you in lockdown with? Who've you locked down with?
So what in the world that we're in this made-up world, or the actual real world?
In your lockdown, in your house right now?
In my house. So I'm locked down with my family, so Amy, and who's my wife, and Evie, who is our oldest daughter, and Lydia, who is our middle daughter, and Jonah, who's our youngest son. So there's 5 of us in a house, trying to create space, and I feel sorry for the kids when I have to use their rooms to do work, because I work from home now, completely at home. So I'm in and out of the girls' bedrooms with desks and stuff. So
5 people
So, yeah.
is not a lot of people in the world most of the time, but when you're in one house all the time,
It's
that's
tough.
that's a lot of people. That's a lot
Yeah.
of That's a lot of Boyds.
It's a lot of boys running around, yeah.
In one
It's a lot of boys running around, yeah. But thankfully, the most of the time we get on, and it's a good laugh, and it's been interesting to work at the same day that Amy's working as well, and try and do homeschooling, and think about maths and things that I've not thought about for a long time, or English lessons that I have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, I'm ready to move on to the next question, but I can't. I hear you talking about it's been great to help with maths. I feel like,
No, I'm not. That was sarcasm.
I should interrupt and say that's been I don't understand.
No.
I don't understand long division. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand big multiplications. They're just ridiculous. But fair play to you. Okay, so Amazon can bring you, or any other big conglomerate company can bring you one more delivery to your door, one more to get you through lockdown, one more thing, knowing that you might be in lockdown for a longer period of time. What would you get? One more delivery. No, there's no limit on price or nothing, but you get one more thing.
Okay. So what I would get is a vaccine to this infection, to this. I'd have that vaccine, and then I'd give it to the companies to manufacture, and everyone uses the vaccine, and happy days. We get back to some type of normality. So if Amazon could make that up for me, that'd be awesome. Would that be a possibility?
I thought you were going to say like hot tub or something, or
no vaccine. I'd want a vaccine over that. No vaccine. Machine. No, give me a vaccine any day of the week.
You need a vaccine. That's a nice. That's why you're an elder of the church, because your heart is bent towards other people. Good for you, Boydie.
No, all right. It's not about me at all wanting to get out. It's more about everyone else.
Oh, is that what it is? It's not for the other people. It's so you can go to KFC again, and you can go.
No. Obviously, it'd be good. It'd be very good to have that. But in all honesty, we have done so many things through Amazon. I struggle to think what else we can actually buy, that would help in any situation. We don't really need anything. We've got echoes all around the house. We're in a situation we don't need that stuff.
Just try, drop them an email and say, I'd like the vaccine for COVID, please. Just send it around at your earliest convenience.
That is the only thing.
So the next question, so I know you like your music, and I think music can be a bit of a savior. What song have you listened to most throughout lockdown? What's found its way to the top of your playlist the most times?
So there is a band called Palace, who I don't know if you've heard of them, but they've got a song called Heaven Up There, and they're not a Christian band. But it's a song that I found, when you're listening to Spotify and they just give you random songs to listen to, and they kind of curate your perfect playlist. And that was one of the songs in there. And it's just a song that I just keep coming back to, in terms of just how it sounds. And if you're doing your lockdown walk or run or whatever, you just literally stick it on your headphones, and it just takes you. It's one of those songs that takes you somewhere else for when you listen to it. It's one of those ones that you just kind of, you can just listen to it, and it can just transport you to somewhere else.
Heaven Up There.
Heaven Up There by Palace. Just for me, just been a great song. Yeah, one of my songs of I don't know if it was released this year, but one of my best songs that I listen to, our most popular songs that I listen to at the moment.
Get it? We will add a link to it on here, but maybe have a listen to that at your own leisure. Heaven Up There by the Palace. The Palace. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Oh, just Palace. It's just called Palace. The band's called Palace. So
this new thing that's happened, we've all got to, or we're allowed people to come into our bubble. It's a weird concept as we try and sort of transition out of lockdown, but we're all allowed somebody in our bubble. So I give you the opportunity. You can have anybody alive in the world
I found it really difficult to do.
Anybody alive in the world. So you could have Jamie Oliver. When I thought about it, immediately I thought Jamie Oliver in the garden.
I suppose he could cook with something, yeah.
He's got a good chat. I think he's got a pretty good chat, and he could cook some dinner. You know, it would boost my media, social, my popularity up a little bit if I knew something like this, that kind of thing. So I thought of him. So who'd you go with? Who'd you let in trouble with?
I've gone with someone called Jon Favreau. I don't even know if that's his second name, how we say his second name, but Jon Favreau. Do you know who he is?
I feel like I've heard of him, but I don't know who he is.
All right. So I won't say I'm into Star Wars, but I've watched all the Star Wars movies, and he's directed The Mandalorian.
Oh, yes. I've seen Disney his name on the credits, yeah.
Well, in fact, no, he hasn't directed The Mandalorian. He wrote The Mandalorian, and different directors have kind of contributed to it. But he directed the first Iron Man, and he was happy in Spider-Man, Homecoming, and stuff like that. But anyway, on Disney Plus, another thing that I've watched is behind the scenes of Mandalorian, and it just seems really interesting. He's got. I think the more things that I've started to watch, the more I've started to appreciate how things are filmed, and and I've got an appreciation of film, I suppose. So, and he seems really knowledgeable in that. So he's someone who I could just sit down and potentially just listen to the stories that he's talking about. So yeah, I think he was someone that was winning my mind.
That's a curveball.
Might be a curveball. Yeah, it might be. But it was a hard one. Who else do you pick?
Who do you pick? You could have had Miss World.
No,
you could have had Barack Obama. You could have had.
Could have had Donald Trump.
Could have had Michael Jordan, and you've gone with Jon
Favreau. Yeah, it's just literally when I was thinking about. I think at the moment he's someone who, if he speaks, I'm quite interested in his take on films, and I'm. Yeah, so there you go. That's my choice.
Cool. Next question is, you can have this is a weirder question, I think. You can have a Zoom call with 3 Bible characters. Zoom has been a feature of lots of people's lockdown lives, and we've become accustomed to seeing different faces pop up on the screen in these different settings. You can have any 3 characters from the Bible. Who and why? Who would you have and why? What would you want to talk about? And what would you call the meeting? That's another question as well. So 3 characters from the Bible, Boydie.
Oh, good grief. What would you call the meeting? I didn't know you were going to ask me that one. So I'd call the meeting story time. Story time, CBeebies. So I'll call the meeting story time.
Right.
And the people who I would get in, because I think these people will just have kind of amazing stories to tell, and there'll be loads to learn from them. So I'd say King David. I'd love to kind of speak to him in terms of again, going back to the whole Netflix thing. If you did a film of King David and his life in terms of what happened, it would be pretty epic, I think, in terms of where he came from. You obviously got David and Goliath, and then you've got David and Bathsheba, and you've got all the the battles he was in, and and all just his life in general was really interesting. And you've got the Psalms as well, where David is really honest with God, where he's just saying, look, I don't know, where are you? So yeah, I'd like to speak to David, see David, where we said that. And yeah, so David was on. Esther, Queen Esther.
So you've got David on there, and you've got David's top left, Esther's top right.
Yeah, I'd talk to her and about just again, her story and how her mindset when she went into the king and just said, look, this is who I am. I'm a Jew, and
and that would be quite a chat between David and Esther as well.
It would be. Yeah, and with Mordecai and
King David, and Esther.
And I think Esther would make a great film. Just the stuff that went on with her. That's a great thing. And the other one was I was flitting between Peter and Thomas, and obviously before I say that, obviously everyone would go, well, Jesus straight away. But I assumed this was anyone. Jesus was on this list.
No, well, I never assume.
Never assume, so I did. So,
I think that
obviously Jesus. Probably... I would have put Jesus on as a disclaimer, but these are the other ones as well.
So what made you think of Thomas? Why did you want to speak to Thomas?
I just thought you've obviously got the whole his most famous thing was, doubting Thomas. We even say that, you're not a Christian and say doubting Thomas.
I'm sure he did lots of amazing things.
But I'm sure he's got lots of amazing things as well. And
give him a chance to speak, to tell of the good stuff that he did, not just.
I think I know quite a bit about Peter in terms of what he's done, but Thomas, I don't really, and that's on me. So it'll be a case of, for Thomas, I'd like to hear from him, and just how his emotions when he was doubting, Jesus, was alive, which any of us would in that situation would be doubting, and then Jesus comes through and says, "Well, I'm here, and look at my hands." And
I'm really thankful for the Bible characters that show, that really human. So both those guys, Peter and Thomas, I'm so thankful for them, because often you think they say the things that I feel like would be in my head. They express the fear or the doubt,
absolutely,
or they live out the failure that I think I probably would.
Absolutely.
I guess I don't know so much about Esther, but as King David did as well. That would be a pretty cool group chat, Boydie. That would be I
think it would. I think that would be
that's a good.
I'll have a lot of questions, and the good thing about me being the first one is that I had a pick of the bunch, so I could pick whichever Bible person I wanted. So,
the only disappointment with that list is the story time.
Story time. I can't think of anything else. So
story time. Yeah, I think you could deal with some big issues with that group, with Esther using her beauty, and with David and Bathsheba and doubting Thomas. That you could get some highbrow title there, and you've gone with story time.
Story time. I know, it's simple, simple to the point. People know what they're going to get a good story.
It's simple.
Stories of faith. You could say, whatever. I don't know. It's up to you.
Tapa sharing those 3 Bible characters. All right, so 2 more questions. It's been a chance to reflect. Have you learned any? Have you learned anything throughout lockdown? Is there anything that you're definitely going to do when you get back, or is it anything that you're definitely not going to do? What has been the wisdom, Boydie? Impart just one of what I'm certain will be many discoveries and learnings and gleanings. Give us just one that's dropped, one penny that's dropped in the Boyd household.
For me, it's and lots of people say, but it's just the appreciation of what we have. So I said right at the start that there's so many things I'm thankful for in my life. I know that kind of joke saying I'm bored and confused and blah, but God has been so good to us, and he's just kept us going, and that's just us being in kind of lockdown and as a family. So if when we see people again, and when we get back to church, and when we can sing with each other again and play in the band, and just to be thankful for that. Really, you can get to a point, especially if you're doing ministry in church, where it can feel like a bind, which it shouldn't do. It can feel like, oh man, I'm on drums again. And sometimes you pray to
bless me incredibly with this gift.
Absolutely, and
it really helps people worship. You're thinking, oh man, I'm on drums again.
No, and don't get me wrong, I kind of love to play, but I've just appreciated that, I suppose, more. Not just drumming, but singing together. You did a blog about it, and just being together, seeing friends and family. For my children to, sorry, you did say one thing, but this is me, and I said at the start.
All right, you've generalized on one thing.
Appreciate
what we have, and I think it's weird, isn't it, how the stop and reset, or the pause, or the slight difference to life has made us just take stock a little bit, recognize some stuff.
I
and
just appreciate what you have.
And it sounds like quite simple stuff, like, I can play drums, and that brings glory to God. Or I can, and my church family, I quite like them as it happens, and it's nice to be together and sing together. They're quite simple. There's nothing hugely profound there, really. It's just like, these things I've got already are quite good things. And we
definitely.
Like that is so, we overlook that stuff so often, don't we? The people that stick by us, the people in our lives that actually love us, all the simple stuff we can overlook really easy.
Definitely. So that nothing majorly profound in terms of wisdom, but just that kind of, just appreciate what we've got, appreciate what God's given to us.
So the last question. You've survived lockdown so far. How has faith played a part in that? Or has it? Have you just watched Netflix the whole time?
I just watched Netflix and
managed to ignore your kids for long enough to stay sane. Or
that's my world.
Has there been divine intervention in your survival, Boydie?
We've been really blessed with our life group to be meeting once a week, and we've met for most weeks on Zoom, and hopefully this Sunday we'll actually meet physically somewhere. But yeah, it's been great just to be able to talk to those guys and pray with each other. And the verse that's one of the verses that we looked at a few weeks ago was just the supremacy of Christ, as in Colossians, where Paul just goes into Jesus being he's the image of the invisible God. He's the firstborn of all creation, for by him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. And it kind of just goes into this list of these things that Jesus is. He's just so amazing and so supreme and over all this, but and we hold that in one hand, but then in the other hand we hold the fact that he's our friend, and he listens to us and he cares for us. And so it's just the whole thing of the supremacy of Christ, and that actually Christ has got it. We use the word unprecedented. We say we're in unprecedented times. We've never seen anything like this before, but God has seen things like this before. This is not unprecedented. He's not looking at earth and thinking, what's going on? I've got no control. He's got complete control over that. And for me, that is just, I can rest with that. And yeah, there's no anxiety in terms of where the future holds, because I know God's got it. And so it's leaning into that. That's kind of where we've been at. And yeah, it's difficult some days, and sometimes we have really fantastic days. We went to the beach last Tuesday. It was brilliant. And some days like today, it's just been pretty boring, just been working at home and kids doing homeschool. But in all that, God's still got it, and he knows the outcome, and we're fine with that. So
did you have that line written down? God's still got it, be honest. If that's just come out there, you've gone up.
God's still got it.
That's a good line.
No, that wasn't written down. But that the train of thought, I suppose, was a little bit. But yeah,
got it. Yeah, I still got it. Cool, Boydie. I feel like that's a solid start to locked in with Boydie. I hope that's been helpful. If anyone's listening, it's certainly been helpful to me.
I wondered what that was, and what on earth?
Yeah, that's my effects. That's my effects.
That's how we go.
20 to pick from, and I chose applause.
Brilliant. What other one have you got? Just do a random one.
Okay. Did you like that?
Should have done that. You should have done that at the start. But anyway.
There is. I'll give you one more. I think I might use it if we do this again.
Oh, that one great.
You didn't like that one. I like that one. I think if anybody happens upon a good idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I get that. Yeah.
There you go, like that.
In the next ones, I want to hear more of those sound effects. That'll be good. That's real time.
Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll do this again another time. Okay, cool. Bye.